Sorry, but today we have the privilege of hearing John McHugh talk with us about city communication. John?
Thank you, Dale. Good morning. Now, have any of you this year watched Comcast cable TV, used a cell phone, used a smartphone, used an iPhone, used a personal computer, used an iPad, a tablet, or viewed a web page or sent an email yet this year? Anyone? Anyone? Okay, at least half of you. Well, wouldn't it be nice if they worked perfectly every time? Well, they can. In your dreams, but until your dreams become reality, we're here at Lenox with the Computer Buddy group and over at City Hall with the Senior Video Club and the other city services that we have at City Hall to help out our community. My talk today is on your city services and community education. As you all know, the senior program is a division of community education, and that's one of the reasons why I'm here from time to time at Lenox Community Center. My name is John McHugh. I work in the Information Resources Communications Cable TV department. My official title is Community TV Coordinator, but I also work with the Senior Computer Buddies, Senior Video Club, and this recording, and the recording I made last Sunday at St. George's Church, and the recordings I make in the schools and elsewhere in the community appear on ParkTV15. Why am I here? Well, way back in 1995, the city did a vision study, and it was a special report about our community's future, and coincidentally, at that time, 1995 was when I started the Senior Video Club, helping seniors transfer photographs to video. And that fell in line with the city's stated mission in the vision study, and that is create intergenerational linkages. Of course, we're all 20 years older now, and I think I'm safe to say that everyone in this room is working on their second half century, so we've got some common bonds there. If you want to find out more about community education, you can go to the school district website, and that is communityed.com/seniors, and that's what the front page looks like, and you can see there down on the bottom, Senior Safety Day. I'll be recording a couple of the presentations on Senior Safety Day, as well as doing other things that day too. Some of that same information is actually located on the city's website, and we created a shorter address to get there, and that is slpseniors.org, which is a whole lot better than typing in stlewispark.org seniors-programs.html. And it gets you to the miniature page that you see there on the bottom of the screen. And there we have information about some of the senior program events, and we also have a PDF version of the newscaster. So you can be in Timbuktu, and if you forgot your copy of the newscaster, you can go to slpseniors.org and be able to review it. One of the things that we promote on that website is the Computer Buddy Club, and that's something that typically meets on Tuesday afternoons here. However, this month is one of those 3 months a year where there's 5 Tuesdays in the month, which means that the Computer Buddy group doesn't meet, and I get to plan what I'm going to do the next month in Computer Buddies. And when we meet, though, it's an opportunity to use the computers that the school district purchased for this, the community center here. And it's also an opportunity for you to bring in your computers or your questions. And one of the nice features that we now have here at Lenox is the fact that you can see there on the bottom right of the screen, there is a wireless internet signal that you can use. So you don't have to be restricted to using just the school district computers. There's 7 of them in the room. but you can use your own device that can connect to the internet. We have a very simple website. At the very bottom there, you can see it's computerbuddies.blog.com, and that's for people that like websites more than they like email. They can go there and they can see the generic schedule for our group. Here's 4 pictures of what happens. Many of you, I'm sure, have already been in the room. For those that haven't, this is what it looks like as you walk past it to the card room. And there's fairly new computers, or iMac computers, but they're running Windows 7, one of the newer operating systems. And in the bottom right picture there, you can see that it doesn't look that different, but that computer is actually running Windows 10. Windows 10 hasn't been released yet, but there's a preview version that you can get for free. And then as soon as they release it, I don't know, they'll send an update that will allow you to not use it anymore, and you need to buy the real version. But that is an example of some of the activities we do there. And also, when you come in, you sign in, and that's how we get your name and contact points for sending you a weekly email. And the weekly email says what's going to be happening, and also gives tips. Just in case you can't make it to Computer Buddies, which is probably more than half of the people that get the email. Okay, 90% of the people that get the email don't come to a weekly Buddies meeting, but they still get the benefit. And that's a free service. You can contact me and get that information, and I can add you to the email list. 2 fellows that founded the Computer Buddies group, there you can see on the bottom of the screen, John Phillips and Bob Koski. They started back when we were using Windows 3.1, and it was all on donated equipment. And I stand on their shoulders. They got us started, and by the time I was participating on a regular basis, we were running Windows 2000 in the computer lab. And here are the benefits that you can get as a member of the senior program and as a computer buddy. We have equipment for long-term loan. And speaking about that equipment, you have to have some place to put your equipment until someone borrows it. And I would like to take a moment here to thank Larry Munson and the fellows in the woodcraft shop for helping build shelves to store the equipment conveniently for us. We have weekly emails that have the current topic or the agenda. That's an overstated way of saying what we're going to be doing each week. We offer troubleshooting. You can bring in your device or your computer, and we can try to solve it, a problem that you may be having with it. We have 4 Tuesday meetings a month. The first hour from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, typically there's a topic. And that's a presentation and discussion. And then the second half, it's from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and that is a help session. And the 4th Tuesday of the month, the full 2 hours is a help session. That's the bring in your box, or bring in your device, or bring in your problems. And you get buddy advice from skilled amateurs. Now, just in case the true definition of the word amateur doesn't come to mind, it is a person who engages in a study, sport, or other activity for pleasure, rather than financial benefit or professional reasons. So isn't it nice to know that the same problem that has you saying a discouraging word is actually a pleasure for a computer buddy to help you solve that problem? That's a bonus. The Senior Video Club, that's been going on since 1995. Currently, our activities are over at the City Hall. It's done by appointment, and you may have read over the past, 20 years in the newsletter, what we actually provide. We provide activities where you can transfer photographs, slides, home movies, audio recordings, and other things to a storage media. And that could be analog tape, it could be a digital disc, it could be any number of things. It's a long list of things that we do, but the point to make here is, do you have a box that's filled with memories? Have you promised yourself you're going to do something about that next year for sure? Well, get started, transfer some stuff each month. Computer Buddies group and the Senior Video Club, there's a little bit of crossover in that you can use scanners to digitize photographs, things like that, or you can use regular traditional equipment to record a home movie and then transfer that. Just contact me. You don't have to use email. You can just call me at City Hall. Here's an example of the type of thing that we do. The first two pictures at the top of the frame there are a 16mm projector and a camera that's set up on a tripod and that's projecting on a wall, and the camera is pointing at the image on the wall and transferring that recording, that film recording. At the bottom there you can see the records that you might have used years ago that perhaps are now in a box in the basement or in the attic or in a friend's basement or attic. And you can transfer those if you want. There's also an example of a home movie there. That is an 8mm, not a Super 8 home movie. And a Polaroid picture and a slide. We can do all of that. That's an activity that you learn how to do and then you do it yourself. I'm just there as your mentor. So what do I do when I'm not at Lenox Community Center? Well, I'm a city employee. I'm over at St. Louis Park City Hall, and I'm in the Information Resources Department. Used to be called Information Technology. Used to be called Office Services back before we expanded beyond 3 computers. And now most employees have a desk or a counter and have a computer on that, and the department that I work for supports that and does other things too. As you can see there, we do communications, and that would be the newsletter that you get from the city several times a year. It would also be ParkTV, and if any of you subscribe to Comcast cable television, thank you for subscribing. You can watch the types of things that happen in your community, and you can also watch every other channel that's on cable television. But the unique thing about us is we cover events in the city. Here are the 16 people that are in our department. They were remodeling the first floor. If you haven't been to City Hall in more than a year, you may not recognize the first floor because it looks really, really nice because they remodeled it. And so here's what it looked like when they were still in the middle of putting up walls. We took a tour, and we had to wear hard hats. And we sat down on a bench and stood behind the bench, and this is what we looked like in August of 2013. So some of the things that the Information Resources Department and the communications function of that does for you as city residents are things like Park Alert. Park Alert is a way to let you know that, there's a snow emergency. We now call them snow emergencies rather than parking restrictions. Or that perhaps a highway is closed, a bridge is out, and that information can be sent to you through an email, through a text, through a phone call. And you don't have to have a computer or a smartphone or a cell phone to get that. You can just call and ask to be added to the list, and then you'll receive an automated call that advises you of what you should be alerted to. So far, our alerts have been confined to snow emergencies and weekend road closures. If a disaster strikes, we would be communicating with residents and businesses about disaster recovery from a storm or transportation issues, blockage of a railroad crossing or something else. Hopefully we don't have to alert you to disasters, but we're ready to do that, and you can be ready to receive it if you contact City Hall and get your phone number or your email on the list. Park Perspective, you can see up there in the upper left-hand corner is the newsletter that the city mails to every residence. And one of the things that we have that's new is something called My St. Louis Park. It's a way for you to report something that you think needs to be done. And for me, that was The dock platform over at Lamplighter Pond by Pennsylvania Park behind the junior high school, there's a nice big pond, and then there's a floating dock that is goes out into the pond, and the ramp to that was, let's just say it was in bad repair. Okay, it hadn't been repaired, so it needed to be repaired. So I took a couple pictures of it, and then I used mystlouispark.org, the website, to send that information, and I got confirmation emails back saying, we've received it, we're working on it, it's done. And you don't have to have a smartphone or a computer or something like that. You can call City Hall. You don't have to download the app. We'd like you to. There's probably a very high percentage, probably 50% of people that have the type of cell phones that could use My St. Louis Park app, but you don't have to. You can call City Hall, talk to a real human, and say, there's something wrong, and I need to report, I wonder if you could fix it. So don't think that you have to always use the latest technology. You can use traditional communication techniques to get something done. Here in this building and in many other buildings in our city, we have free Wi-Fi, free wireless internet access. And that is something that is a big benefit to the community. There's several park buildings, the Rec Center, the Westwood Hills Nature Center, and Browndale, Nelson, and Fernhill Park public buildings all have free Wi-Fi, and the lobby, the atrium at the shops at West End all have free Wi-Fi supplied by the city of St. Louis Park. And this is great because you can, instead of using cell phone minutes, if you have the type of cell phone that can use Wi-Fi to call instead of traditional cell phone service, you can use this Wi-Fi to make your phone calls, to check a schedule, to send something to My St. Louis Park because you found something that needed to be fixed. These spots will have a sticker that looks like that big round picture that you see on the screen. And that identifies, and some of you may have seen it on the door where you entered from the parking lot or coming off of Hampshire Avenue, on the glass door, identifying that there's free public Wi-Fi in this building. There's also one on the computer lab door, which is easier to see when the door is closed. But when it's open, come on in and say hello. Well, that is the information technology side of the department that I work in. And now I can tell you about ParkTV. ParkTV has been branded ParkTV and been in existence since, 10 years now. And there's 5 channels that are on the cable television system here in St. Louis Park. And these 5 channels are unique. They're not seen in Minneapolis or in any of the other surrounding cities. They're seen only in St. Louis Park. We have 5 of them, and there's an education channel, channel 14. There's community channels, which is channels 15 and 96. I'm primarily responsible for those. There's the on location channel, channel 16. That's where you see varsity sports and concerts in the parks and other community events. And civic channel 17, a fair number of public meetings on that channel, as well as other topics that are civic topics. If you go to ParkTV.org, that redirects you to the city's website, and here's the page that you would see on the city's website that tells you about ParkTV. And also has links. You can see on the left-hand side there's little icons there, and if you click on one of those, you'll go to a screen that will allow you to view what's playing on the cable television system on that channel right now. So you could be in, Minneapolis, and if you have a computer or device with internet access, and you click on that, you'd be able to see what's playing there. So that's pretty handy for if there's someone, a family member or a friend who's from out of town, who is out of town at the moment and has internet access, broadband access, and can view streaming video. You could say, there's this program that I watched that I found out when it's playing again, you may want to watch it. And that's when it coincides with the playback on the cable system. Here you can see the truck, the ParkTV truck. You may have seen that at Veterans Amphitheater. You may have seen it at high schools. We also record the high school graduations of the 2 high schools in our city. This truck is fairly new, and on the upper right-hand corner you can see the control room. We have 4 high-definition cameras, and down at the bottom there on the left you can see a camera that we were using back in 2009, the original van camera that we got from, it was Time Warner at the time, and it was replaced with the high-definition camera, and there you can see on the right-hand side on the bottom a shot of a participant at one of our open houses trying out that high-definition camera. We record van events in high definition, but we play them back in standard definition because we don't have high-definition cable TV channels yet. Here are some of the events that you would see on channel 16. The upper left-hand corner is the ParkTacular pageant. It happens over at the high school. Concerts in the park happen in Oak Hill Park and also happen over at the Veterans Amphitheater, close to Excelsior Boulevard, Excelsior on Grand. ParkTacular Parade is part of the different things that we record during the city's summer festival. ParkTacular happens in 1 week in June, early June. And there you can see in the bottom right a shot of an event at the amphitheater. There's the St. Louis Park Community Band performing. Here is an example of 4 different types of public meetings that we cover. If it's raining out, you don't have to drive through the rain to attend that public meeting. You can watch it on channel 17 or channel 14. The upper left, you can see it's a school board meeting held over at the high school on the 3rd floor in the circular building. The other 3 pictures show a planning commission meeting, a city council meeting, and a telecommunications commission meeting. All 3 held in the city council chambers on the 3rd floor at City Hall. Here's more examples of programming that appear on channel 17 and 16. Park Update. It is a weekly news program. It has recently been replaced by Life in the Park. So that's a program that's produced by Scott Smith, and he anchors it from time to time. And that is seen on all 4 channels, not on channel 96, but on channels 14, 15, 16, and 17. On the upper right-hand corner, you see an example of varsity sports. That's over at the St. Louis Park High School Gymnasium. On the bottom there, you can see that there is a screen from a basketball game, Benilde High School versus St. Louis Park High School. Some of the other civic things that we do would be things that we partner with League of Women Voters. League of Women Voters will do a candidate presentation for people that are candidates for public office, and you would be able to hear what they have to say about what they would do if they were elected and what their thoughts are on topics that are of interest to you. You can ask them questions. All these things are replayed. They don't just appear live and then go away. They're replayed several times. Here you can see examples of programs that appear on channel 15. These are programs that I have recorded out in the community. At the upper left-hand corner is a special about our disabilities and our abilities. That was recorded over at the Jewish Community Center's auditorium. The upper right-hand corner is from 2 years ago, and most recently, just last Sunday, a Palm Sunday musical performance over at St. George's Church on Minnetonka Boulevard. The bottom left is the Reader's Theater, a performance at Susan Lindgren School by members, I believe they're all members of some of them are members of the senior program, some are just residents that joined Reader's Theater. They perform for schools. And then at the bottom right, there's Mary Molesky. She participates in the Country Music Jam that happens here the first Wednesday of every month, and I'm able to record most of those, and it's a lot of fun. If you haven't been here, if you like country music, I do. Here's 4 more examples of programs that have appeared on our channel. Some of these are produced by other people. Upper left, there's Gajendra Patel. He did a presentation on the Surplus Food Initiative, where unserved cooked food from school lunches is saved, frozen, and then redistributed to nonprofit organizations. And my direct involvement in that is going over to 2 schools in Hopkins and getting frozen food and then bringing it to the Meadowbrook Community Center for their after-school program. So kids arrive after school, they get a snack, that's good for them, and then they do educational activities or work on homework. And it's easier to pay attention if you've had something to eat. So that's a really good thing. Upper right-hand corner is a production that our department did with the Historical Society and the Harmony Theater group. It was a recreation of historical events in St. Louis Park. And in the background you can see a historical hotel. Those are young boys that are dressed up in costumes pretending to be old men. Or young men, I guess. You don't wear a bowler hat if you're an old guy, I guess. At the bottom there, bottom left, you can see something that happened right here on this stage, and that was a presentation organized by NORC, Nurturing Our Retired Citizens. It's a health and wellness series, and this one was on being limber to avoid falling. And then on the right-hand bottom, you can see a close-up of a performance by the high school's orchestra. And then that was recorded in the gymnasium where they have their orchestra festival, where they have 4th grade through 12th grade students, not performing at the same time, but performing through an hour in the evening where they all get to perform for the audience, and it's well attended. The upper left-hand corner, you can see Richard Gunderson, bass player, St. Louis Park resident, playing in the community center here, the country music jam that happens on Wednesdays. The upper right-hand corner, why, that was a presentation by Dale on loss of privacy. Perhaps some of you remember it. I know I do. I was here recording it. Lower left-hand corner, there's a scene you'll never see again. That's our old lobby that we had here by the entrance, by the parking lot. That is the Friends of the Arts doing a poetry jam where residents will read their original poems or their favorite poems by famous authors. In the lower right-hand corner there, you can see the middle school choir performing on the stage at the high school auditorium. Our local faith communities are represented on Channel 15 and 96. Calvary Worship Center is in the upper left-hand corner. The upper right-hand corner has a still from a program by Westwood Lutheran Church. Lower left has a still from the Shalom Chapel series that plays. And lower right-hand corner is Twin City Fellowship, a local faith community that has a weekly series. So, who can use Channel 15 and what can Channel 15 do for you? Well, if you live in, work in, or attend school in St. Louis Park, or belong to a St. Louis Park organization for which you want to do some kind of video programming thing, I'm the guy that you talk to. There is no membership fee. There is no cost to use our equipment if you have already been trained to use equipment. If you haven't, we have community education class that can train you how to do that. If you already have some training and you just need to be reoriented to operating the equipment, we can do that at no cost. And what would you record? Anything that's of interest to you. That's the criteria. If someone in Anoka records something that's of interest to them and they come to me and they say, I want to play this on your channel, I say, oh, do you live, work, or attend school in St. Louis Park or belong to St. Louis Park organization? And they say, no, I'm from Anoka. I'd like to play it. I say, well, we're a city of 42,000. Could you get an adult from our city who perhaps belongs to your organization but lives in St. Louis Park, and they can submit it on your behalf? That way, we know that everything that plays on channel 15 and 96 represents the interests of someone that lives in St. Louis Park. It's a direct reflection of what people are interested in, and the ones that care enough about it to walk through the door and say, please play this repeatedly on channel 15. When we schedule something to play on channel 15, it plays for either 3 days in a row or 4 days in a row. We have a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday program module where every 8 hours program repeats. We also have a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday module. Same type of deal. Every 8 hours that program replays. And the reason we do that is someone may say, I don't want my program to play on the Sabbath. Well, then you can play it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And there's no charge for that. If you went to other cities, you may have to pay a $40 membership fee before you can use their facilities or before you can submit a program to be played on their channel. We're eligibility based, not membership based here. So there is no extra charge for you to contact your national organization or local organization if they have some kind of video programming and get that to play here. You contact me and I'll work with you on that, try to make that happen. So we have public service announcements and video program production. And what is a public service announcement? That would be a picture screen that appears in between programming for different events happening in our community. We also offer answers to your cable television questions. We offer community education video classes, free video equipment use, and we record performances and presentations in our community. This is what it looks like when a program's not playing and announcements are seen. These screens show things that are happening at, submitted by Friends of the Arts, a play over at Benilde High School. Most recently, at St. George's Church, their special Palm Sunday event, a congregation that meets sometimes over at the Jewish Community Center here in St. Louis Park and sometimes at a location in St. Paul. And I don't know if any of you had any pancakes recently with the Lions Pancake Breakfast, but we promoted that. We promoted that on all of our channels. The Minnesota Jewish Theater Company, their performances don't happen in St. Louis Park, but I think it represents the interests of some people who live in St. Louis Park. And here's a fellow that has a jump rope workshop. He lives in St. Louis Park. He has his activities happen in a couple of different cities. His special event was happening, it's probably happening right now during spring break, where you can have a healthful activity of jumping rope. It's pretty neat how competitive that can be. And here's a job fair. Why, there was a job fair right here at Lenox Community Center not too long ago. And that's the type of thing that Hennepin County would let us know about and we would promote. And then non-public schools in our community, the Groves Academy. That's over right by the intersection of Minnetonka Boulevard and Highway 100. They have regular programs. Some are free, some have tuition costs, and we help them promote those. ParkTV15, that's me, and it's also Scott. Scott was one of the fellows that you saw a picture of with one of our older cameras. We record more than 30 musical events, performances in St. Louis Park schools every year. We record more than 30 events that are directly related to the St. Louis Park Senior program. Some of them happen here at Lenox, some of them happen elsewhere. We play recordings that residents and other eligible adults submit, and we also put their announcements up on the screen. And since 1988, that's when I first started working for the city of St. Louis Park, we have accumulated a library of what I call Evergreen Programming. This is something like, your health. It's just as important today as it is 5 years from now as it was back in 1988. So we have the benefit of the opportunity to see those throughout the year. And if you don't subscribe to Comcast cable television, that's a darn shame. But if you have broadband internet, you can watch us on the web. And you can watch us live, the live stream that I referred to earlier, channel 15, channel 96, they have a live stream there. We also have many of the programs that we're responsible for, not programs that somebody else submitted, they're responsible for those, but programs that our department recorded that we're responsible for, that we upload to YouTube, so you can watch those on your computer or your device here in the city or anywhere in the United States if you have broadband internet access. And we also uploaded many programs to another website called Vimeo.com. We started using YouTube exclusively just recently in November of last year. So that's a really good way for people that have family and friends that want to see, oh, I don't know, their second grader that was singing in a school performance, and email a link to a relative in another state. They can go to YouTube and watch it. That's pretty neat to make the value of that program go beyond just our community. So why do we do all this stuff? Why are we spending hard-earned tax dollars to fund all this computer stuff and this cable TV stuff? Why is that? Well, that's not so. We're not using your tax dollars. We're using the money that we raise through cable television in our city. There's an ordinance that the city has that provides permission for a company to use the public rights of way here in our city to earn millions of dollars, and in exchange, the city gets 5% of what they earn selling or renting television services and television equipment. So if you have a cable television bill that you pay monthly, there's two line items on it, and one of them is a franchise fee and one of them is a PEG fee. The franchise fee is 5% of the cost of what you're paying for, what you paid for television and television equipment. That in its entirety is the only thing that funds our department. There's also a PEG fee, and that PEG stands for Public Education Government Access Channels. And that in its entirety pays for the equipment we use. So you saw that big van that we have, high definition cameras. We wouldn't have those, or we'd be using something that was very old and working mostly, if we didn't have an equipment grant that we got from the cable television operator. So over the course of 15 years, the city has not gotten, but soon will get the balance of it, $1.1 million. Over 15 years, that pays for all of the equipment that we use. And if you want to use some of ParkTV15's equipment, the equipment that you can use at no cost to you. So that's why we exist, that's how we're funded, that's why your hard-earned tax dollars don't fund us, your cable TV dollars do, and I would like to thank each one of you that subscribes to Comcast Cable Television for supporting our department. Our public access channels, our public education and government channels, the 5 channels that we have. The Channel 16, that is our on-location local origination channel. And why is that not a PEG channel? Well, it is a PEG channel, but we didn't used to have that one. And that's when, back in 2005, when Time Warner was renegotiating the agreement with City of St. Louis Park, they said, we don't want to do this anymore. And the city said, oh, okay, we'll do it. Give us all your equipment and give us that channel assignment, and we'll do what you don't want to do. So that's where the city steps in when the cable television operator really wants to pay attention to things that, oh, I don't know, result in millions of dollars rather than service to the community. And so we continued that. Speaking of cable television companies, some of you may have heard about something called Great Land Connections. Great Land Connections is a cable television company that's going to be formed, is trying to seek approval from the Federal Communications Commission to buy all of the Comcast operations in Minnesota and in some other states too, Kentucky, Michigan, a bunch of states. And they're a brand new company, and there's not a whole lot of information about Great Land Connections. Here you see the cable television information page on the city's website, which you can go to if you go to ParkTV.org, and it has information about things like that, about your current cable television company and about someone that proposes to be your new cable television company. Let's talk about what the city can do for you with your current cable television company. Comcast, who rebranded themselves as Xfinity when they want to call themselves Xfinity, they, generally speaking, provide good service. I would venture to say very good service. And if you have some type of problem, if you have a signal problem, a billing problem, an account problem, then you would want to contact them and see if they can solve your problem for you. If together you can solve your problem. If they made a mistake and they need to correct that mistake. And so first, call Comcast so their award-winning customer service can answer your service and billing question. Now, I didn't say what kind of an award, but some of you may notice up there, there is a mathematical expression, IFF. That's not a misspelling. That means if and only if. That's a mathematical expression. If and only if you have an unresolved dispute, call City Hall. If you call, we get a fair number of phone calls where people think that we're Comcast, think that we have their account information, and think we can help them right there. And we can't. They have to call Comcast because Comcast has their account information. And if it's an unresolved dispute, then the city can assist you. So, this works for other situations other than cable television or Comcast. And this is what I recommend, that if you call customer service, be prepared to advocate for yourself. So have your information. I've talked to some people that say, oh, I throw away those bills after I pay them. Well, you may want to save some of them. So have your monthly statements or your work order copy. Somebody came and fixed something and you had to sign off. That's a work order copy. And have paper and pencil to write stuff down. And what's the type of stuff that you'd write down? You'd write down when you called them. So day, date, and time. And then write down the time that they answered after you called them. It could have been 3 minutes after the phone started ringing, or you could have been on hold listening to a delightful encouragement on what they can do for you, except for answering your phone call immediately. And so when they finally pick up, write down how long you were on hold. And then the employee most likely is going to say their name. It's very helpful to find out who is the employee that provided you excellent customer service, or if there's an employee that fell short of the mark. This could work with any customer service situation, not just Comcast. And if this is a follow-up call, then you want to ask them to confirm that, you know, when I called last week, it shows that information in my account information, right? They should be able to confirm that. And something that is very helpful is to write down what they say that they would do. And then ask for a confirmation number. I called Comcast when recently, within the last 90 days, I tried to order a video on demand. They were very busy. It said, wait, try again in a few minutes. And I tried several times, and sometimes the screen would go blank for a minute, and then they'd say try again in a few minutes. And I thought, okay, 20 minutes of this is enough. I'm not going to order this movie. But I'm going to follow up the next day and confirm that they showed that I did not order the movie. So I called the next day and wrote down when I called and all that, and the fellow that I talked to said, yes, it shows that you watched 2 minutes of it, which generally speaking means you didn't get the movie you wanted to. There was 2 minutes of activity with our computers, but we'll credit you for that. I said, good. What happened a month later? Darn it, they didn't credit me for that. So I called back again, and this time I got a confirmation number. They said, yes, we will credit you for that. Sorry for that mistake. I said, could I have a confirmation number, please? And they'll say, well, just wait a minute, I'll get you that. So it takes another minute. And they give me a, I don't know, 13-digit number or something. And that way you can prove if in fact they say, well, we don't have any record of that. And I don't know that they would say that, but it gives you more information that will be useful to you. And then if they're going to do a repair, it could be that they're creating a job ticket. Well, there's probably a job ticket number. It may not be called a confirmation number for that. And if they've been helpful, golden rule comes into play. Thank them for their help. Thank them by name if you were conscious enough to make note of what their name was. And something that I didn't think of, but something that somebody else thought of that I read on the internet was if there's an online chat option at their website, try that. Because oftentimes an agent will respond to you much quicker than you're waiting on the telephone, Dale, you have a comment?
You can often print that chat session.
Okay, so after you've had this chat with the customer service person, make sure you make a copy of the text that's displayed in the window and save that so you can document what transpired in the chat. Yes?
You can also give them your phone number, they'll call back for a survey of how they perform.
Yes.
Sometimes they'll call.
So sometimes they offer to call back for a survey about how well their customer service did. And you can participate in that survey if you want to. And it varies. Sometimes they call back, sometimes they don't. Yes?
Or you can subscribe to Dish satellite service and avoid all of them.
Okay, or you could subscribe to a small dish service, and if there's no blizzard, no heavy rains, you still won't be able to see your local channels, but be able to get History Channel, Discovery Channel, all the other channels that you do like. Comcast has a cable TV store, and here in St. Louis Park, it is between CVS and Trader Joe's on Excelsior Boulevard, which is great. They haven't had a store here for 7 years. You used to have to drive to Richfield or West Minnetonka, Woodhill Road, to be able to turn in your box and get a receipt. Well, you can get one at this new store, and they're open 7 days a week. That's great. So that's really good news for subscribers.